It's a pleasure to introduce Chris. He's truly a Renaissance man. He's the fellow that spent 2 years studying art and music at the University of Vienna and then finished his career with an MBA at Harvard. He's also quite a home builder, I understand. He's actually built 32 houses for the poor in Mexico. He's been the Chief Executive Officer for Opportunity International since 2002, and under his tutelage, the organization has continued to grow at 30% per year. I think you can appreciate that this man is no small noise in the business of microcredit. Chris Crane, ladies and gentlemen.
Since we're about the same height, Steve, maybe I'll just raise it up and make it a little easier instead of the whole time staying like that. I was recently with a new friend of mine. Is that fine okay in the back? Can you hear? Okay, good. With a friend of mine. He's from Kenya. He's from a remote tribe in western Kenya called the Pokot tribe. And somehow we got to speaking about how they settle disputes in his tribe. And I said, you take people to court? And he said, well, there are courts, but we never go to court because you'll find out the person is the cousin of your brother-in-law, so you can't do that. He said, what we do is we pick somebody in the tribe to settle the dispute. We both go to that person. We present our case, and whatever that person says, whatever their decision is, we have to abide by his decision or we're ostracized from the tribe. I said, really, that's amazing. What is that person like? He said, well, that person is someone we mutually respect. Yes, and that person's old. Yes, an old man like you, Chris. And he pointed right at me. So you're hearing from an old man today. And so you see the word microfinance up there. Just recently I was reading my Wall Street Journal about how these great big commercial banks, these investment banks, that they had all these losses from subprime mortgages, and they had 20 or 30% of their portfolio in subprime loans. I was saying, how could they possibly do that? And then I caught myself. 100% of Opportunity International's loans are subprime loans. Our clients don't have addresses, they have no collateral, but with that and we have a 98% repayment rate. That's the good news. So some of the big commercial banks wish they had that. Just quickly about Opportunity International, founded in 1971. We first partnered with Rotary International in 1990. Since then, we've partnered in 7 different countries around the world. We're motivated by Christ's call to serve the poor, but just like Rotary, we serve people of all faiths and no faith. We have 45 operating entities in 28 countries on 5 continents. We have 1.2 million active loan clients as we speak. And we target the poorest of the working poor. Therefore, our average loan is only a $162 loan. What can you do with $162 in Los Angeles? Hard to go out to dinner with your spouse. But in the developing world, you can finance a business and people double and triple their income. We set a goal as a business person. I was in for-profit industry for 27 years before joining Opportunity 6 years ago. And we looked at what we had been able to achieve and the growth rates, knowing that the growth rate would likely slow down as we achieved even greater scale. And we realized that we have a chance by the year 2015 to help 100 million people bring them into the financial system, people who beforehand were totally shut out of any financial services, savings accounts, loans. So our one organization, that's our goal. We set a trajectory. There's our trajectory. We set it in 2006. At the end of 2006, we were ahead of trajectory. At the end of 2007, we were again ahead. So we are bold enough to think that we just might be able to achieve over 100 million people. Our trajectory shows 105 million people into financial services. Let's talk about some of the ways in the future of microfinance and how to do that. We started out as a nonprofit organization. We still are a nonprofit, but just opening up NGOs or non-government organizations. But we realized there was a tremendous demand for savings accounts among the poor. Much more demand than there is actually for loans. So we felt that we had to open up banks because the only way you can accept savings in a developing countries from their citizens is you are a chartered bank regulated by their banking ministry. So we set up banks, and so we are now 17 of our 45 financial institutions are fully chartered banks. We're using technology to be able to expand our services and to drive the cost of financial transactions down. We're using point-of-sale machines and cellular banking. In the Philippines today, let's say we have a client, she's had 2 or 3 loan cycles with us, a good repayment record. Let's say she's in her home or she has her little seamstress business. She can send us a text message requesting another loan, a $300 loan. It goes into our computers, no human touches it. It checks her credit reference, her records. It then sends to her another text message with that $300 loan encrypted into the text message. She can then take her cell phone to a point-of-sale transaction machine, and she can buy the goods and services she needs for her business and her family. Cell phone transactions cost about 2 cents per transaction, so very efficient. Our ATM transactions typically about 25 cents, cell phone transactions only 2 cents. With a commercial bank, when we set up these banks to serve the poor, we can leverage those institutions. Once their revenues exceed expenses, we can go to the capital markets and borrow so that every dollar given to us, we can leverage 3 and 4 and 5 times. And then a very exciting aspect is that we accept deposits from poor people. Let me use as an example our bank in Malawi, Africa, which we started just 5 years ago. Today, we have about 20,000 borrowers, and we have 115,000 savers. Savings is a major thrust of what we are doing going forward. Those 115,000 savers have deposited, typically they deposit over a period of time, their average bank account's about $80, $90. So they've deposited $10 million into that bank. That $10 million beforehand was dead capital. It was perhaps in their pockets. It was in a tin can in their shack where anybody could break in and steal it. Today, that $10 million is live capital. It's been put in our bank. We are turning around and loaning it out to entrepreneurs who are employing people, who are producing products and delivering services. So that's just the great benefit of banks and especially deposits. As we look forward, several years out, deposits will be the largest element of our overall capital structure. Smart card technology. I'll just explain this by using an actual story. In many countries in Africa, I see we have a number of ladies and gentlemen from Africa, if a husband dies, then the brother of the husband takes in the widow and the children. Today, what often happens in Africa, when the husband dies, the brother assumes he died of AIDS, and therefore he doesn't want to marry the widow and take in the children, but he'll take over the property and kick the widow and the children out. So it's a great tragedy to this tribal custom that served a good purpose for many years. That happened to one of our clients, Catherine, and as the brother was going through her the property, he saw this card, and he knew exactly what it was. He knew it was her card representing her bank account in our bank. And so he went down to our bank, and he said to the teller, I want to draw all the money out of this account. And the teller said, slide your card into our biometric fingerprint reader. He did. When you do that, by the way, and put your finger down, a green light or a red light goes off. If it's you, the green light goes off. So the red light went off. Teller tried to tell him to do it again. Red light again. The teller looked at the teller screen and said, hey, that's not your account. That's a woman's account. That's Catherine's account. He said, oh, yeah, I'm the brother-in-law in the tribal custom. You know, I get all the property because my brother died. And the teller just said, mister, the only person who can access the money in this account is the person whose fingerprint matches this account. And so in Malawi, Africa, there are bridal showers. And the custom is that the older women give advice to the younger women. Guess what advice Catherine was giving to the women? So No overbearing husband, no in-laws. She was saying your money is safe and only you can access this money. And if you want to save for your children's savings accounts and for their health care, you can do that. So technology is really helping us provide secure financial transactions for many, many people all over the world.